Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 5 of Unicorn Chef, UK edition this week. And I am with the lovely Shell Richards. Would you like to say hello, Shell?
I'd love to. Before I do, I ought to hang on. It's one of those tight forks. There we go.
Hey.
Hello, I'm Shell Richards, Queen of the Spatula. Shell Richards, the leadership alchemist and friend of the lovely Amy.
Are we friends? Have we got that far? Have we defined it?
Let's see how the next 45 minutes goes.
Shell, what are we cooking tonight?
Right, we've got some prawns and noodles and broccoli. What is the official title? Ginger sesame and chili prawn and broccoli stir fry.
Wow, nice.
Another stir fry for you.
Another stir fry for me. Clearly, my guests think that I can't fucking cook. Which actually, after the first episode's performance, I'm not surprised because this week I've had to pre-prepare everything because I realised there was a huge gap in between me speaking because I was concentrating so hard on not chopping my own fingers off. So yes, we're more prepared this week. So the leadership alchemist, tell us what that means.
So I former leadership alchemist just in June. So it's a very new business, but I've been working for a while in consortia with a range of different businesses. Essentially, you know this, I design and create sort of unforgettable experiences for teams and leaders because nobody likes boring training. So that's what I do. I've designed.
Well, that's like we're soul sisters in that.
Oh
respect.
yeah. I think that's actually, we've got quite similar kind of modus operandi. Not that I know that much about your product yet, but so I designed a process called Strategic Orbits Exercise, which is a tabletop game, which we've taken into various environments, government, crisis leadership, and tech transformation.
Cool.
So it's pretty cool. It's based on, as you know, my history. I was in the military for nearly 20 years, and I did a lot of kind of wargaming, serious gaming, and like various environments. So that's what it's based on.
Cool. Well, I think that's how we met each other, wasn't it? Because we went to an event around trade, and we were slightly disruptive.
Yeah, I don't know if that was more to do with the wine that they were serving at the event, but
that's what happened. It was. There is wine tonight, so maybe we'll be disruptive again this evening.
Well, you're being disruptive because we're having prawns and you've got red wine, which is a bit weird. But
well, I was at Saturday Kitchen. I'm going to do the Ollie Smith bit now and tell you what the wine pairing is that goes with ginger and prawn stir fry. Clearly, as every week, it will be a nice bottle of French red. This week, we're on a nice Beaujolais.
That looks very posh. Yeah, it's quite a good bit gone already. So I think I've got some catching up to do. So does that make me like James Martin then, if you're Ollie Smith?
It does, although I've got the Yorkshire accent, so I'm not sure how that's going to translate. But we'll go with you being James Martin.
Tell me a bit more about your business, because we've been talking for a while and I haven't really heard that much about it yet. So
I swear to God, I've not set this up so that I can plug my own business.
Just interested.
So what I do is the cyber escape room company, obviously. So we kind of do what we say on the tin. But we got set up because we realised security awareness training is really fucking dull.
Yeah, it's boring as out.
Yeah, I wanted to find a more interactive, immersive way of teaching people basic cyber concepts because, current training doesn't seem to be ticking the boxes.
Yeah, so cool. And
it's like in person. So I think it's probably quite similar to what you do, but you obviously do it more for like leadership stuff, and we do it more for security awareness training.
Yeah, I think people just like something immediate that makes they go away from it feeling good about learning. And the best thing is when you're learning and you don't know you're learning, right? So if you have a bit of fun with something, just because you're dealing with a serious topic, it doesn't have to be boring. Anyway, I think we should do some cooking.
Let's do some cooking. I'm excited. I'm actually cooking on gas this week, which is unusual. Cooking on electric, so it's like a treat. Things actually get hot.
You've got a really show-off kitchen there.
Well, yeah, it is mine.
But have you got a massive wok?
I have got a massive one.
So is your heat on?
It can be.
Yeah, put it on. Have you got broccoli?
No, I don't like broccoli. I've got
Okay. So I've got the broccoli, but I'll add that after. So the first stage is, it says to cook the broccoli first, but you've not got it.
Well, ignore
So
that.
I'll start doing that.
Okay.
And then you need to get your sesame seeds.
Okay. Sesame seeds. Went and bought them especially for this event.
Very nice.
What am I doing with them?
Yeah, just right. So is your heat on?
The heat is on, yeah. The wok is on the heat.
Okay, so you need to put the sesame seeds in. You're just going to like cook them off.
Okay. Cool. Toasted sesame seeds. What we like.
So we're already disrupting the status quo because I've got broccoli and you've got sesame seeds.
I took it as a bit more of a guideline recipe. So, what's the bits that I like and that I actually fancy eating for tea? So
I'm being bossy already.
I'm fine.
No, when I was younger, I really wanted to be a chef.
Excuse me as well. You don't use the word bossy. Bossy is such a negative word.
Okay.
I've banned my daughter from using the word bossy and said we don't say bossy, we're assertive.
Assertive's good. I think assertive's good. And I think if
you never call a man bossy, would you?
No, you wouldn't. And you wonder sometimes about I certainly when I was at school, when my more assertive side came out, I was definitely readjusted. Yes. Not just by male teachers either, by female teachers as well. Right. So you've got this. You've got your seeds in.
I have, yeah.
Okay. Are they brown yet?
Not brown yet. No. Come on, just give me a sec. How quick do you think it's working?
So how's the wine? Good?
The wine's amazing, but a bottle of Fleury, you can never go wrong with that. No.
Do you think I could get through this whole bottle of Prosecco in the next 45 minutes?
I reckon you could give it a really good go. I think I've got to save some of this for the other half.
Mine's really sizzling now, so you must be ready.
Now we're good. Now what?
So tell me why you got into building a cyber escape room. Like I don't.
Why?
You've never told me that story.
Well, there's probably a reason for that because it's really fucking long. We used to sell proper, I guess, traditional training.
Okay, boring training is what you mean.
Yeah, like pen tester training. But I had a business partner at the time, and then he pissed off in the Middle East.
Okay.
And then, we built this escape room product for a friend of ours. And I thought, fuck it, I'll have to do that because I can't teach pen testing because I don't even know where the command line is on my laptop. So pen testing is probably not the thing for me. When your seeds are brown now, what am I doing with them?
You see, they're brown. Right, okay. So you need to turn it down.
Okay.
Oh, no, sorry, you turn it up. Right.
Oh.
You turn it up now. And you add the oil.
Add what? Oil?
You know, this sesame oil, yeah?
I've got the sesame oil.
That's going in next.
Okay.
And then you've got to essentially let that sizzle a bit. And then you're going to add the prawns straight away.
Okay, cool.
God, mine's really sizzling. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it, yeah. This is sizzle now, I think.
So it's really interesting you said I didn't know how to pen test. So without even realising it, when I was a young captain in the army, they sent me in to pen test, right? A massive exercise for NATO. And
it's like physical pen testing, like you've got to physically break into it.
And technical, physical and technical.
Okay.
So you've got to stir those so they don't burn.
Right.
So you only need to cook them for 30 seconds.
Oh, that was a sizzle.
That's a good sound, isn't it? That's why the stir fry is good for these.
Yeah, I like it. There's a nice bit of what's the word, like multi-sensory cooking.
Yeah. So that's without realizing it, I was actually doing cyber behaviors really young. Yeah. And it's kind of an approach I've taken into everything, which is, most things that go wrong, most things that fuck up in an organization is just people doing silly things. So if you can take them into that space, catch them doing silly things, and then readjust it in the room, actually then it takes all the shame away from getting stuff wrong. And I think probably and that's what I do, in leadership, create spaces where people come in and do them and then kind of catch them doing it and work on it in the moment.
Yeah, I think they're probably quite similar skill sets that you need to do our roles, and that you have to kind of have a good understanding of like behavioural psychology and how people's brains work and what their motivations are and that kind of thing, because then you can kind of work out where people are going to naturally trip up at things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are these prawns coming out of here now, or are they staying in?
No, keep them in. Are they pink?
Yeah.
Okay, keep them in for a couple more minutes, and then we're going to put the sauce in.
Okay.
So you can chuck the sauce in now.
Soy sauce,
yeah? Yeah, there's all of the sauce can go in. It's going to sizzle a lot now.
I didn't actually measure mine out. I'm just guessing.
Huh?
I didn't actually measure my sauce out. I'm just guessing.
I didn't either. It'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be lovely. So we're going to do the sauce, and then have you got the ginger?
I do. I actually did a proper Saturday kitchen this week and did a little plate with all of the bits on.
Ooh, mine's in ramekins, mostly because I like eating cheesecakes. So there's got loads of these little things knocking about. Circular economy and all that. We don't waste anything in this house. So yeah, where do we get to? Psychology, behavioural psychology, and I'm not an academic. I'd say I'm a pracademic at most. Like I've done some research on what I call socio-technical systems. So like what makes people do the things they do with the tech.
Yeah.
But that it has a massively practical application. And I mean, God, like in an escape room environment, I got a really early version of escape room years ago for a military application. Yeah. And it was for analog. But the data that came out of it around how people do stuff and how they interact with each other is massive. And I think that's informed a lot of work through the years. Like, have you found that there's no richer data set than actually bringing people into the space?
So I always say, because we usually working with security teams, but I talk to learning and development managers and say it would actually be super interesting for you to kind of watch the escape room happen, because you can see like who's a natural leader, who's taking charge, who's working solo. Like, because obviously you need all these different kinds of people in your organization, but there's no better way of kind of understanding how people work than watching a kind of team task like that.
Yeah, totally. And strategic orbits exercise works like that as well. So essentially it's just, I've always enjoyed watching people. I'm just fascinated by human behavior.
That makes you sound creepy, but we'll go with it.
I mean, I am a little bit creepy. I'm a bit weird in that I'm fascinated by people and why they do the things they do.
Yeah.
And so, because I grew up a bit weird, I think, I was quite different. I wasn't the average kid, and I certainly wasn't the average army officer. But I always found myself in a place where I was kind of standing back and watching other people's behaviors. And I always found a way to empathize. But what's important, I think, in a lot of organizations is that they really understand how their people operate and work when the system fails. So when the system is thinking. Yeah,
I'm going a little bit rogue with this recipe because I've got like veg and shit to cook in mine. So I'm going to take these prawns out and then chuck some veg in the pan.
Take the prawns out. Yeah, sorry. You can take them out and then do the other bits and then re-add them.
Yeah, you just don't want them to get chewy, do you?
So we're going to go for the bean sprouts next and cook them.
Well, guess which bit I've got for that. I walked around the supermarket and was like, I'm going to substitute them.
What have you got?
I've got shiitake mushrooms, onions, pak choy, sugar snaps, carrot.
Ooh, fancy. Sprouts.
Yeah, I want it to go like a bit, I don't know, colourful.
So yeah, so talk to me about the data process. Like, how do you, like you say, Pete, you can observe behaviour, but how do you record it? Because I think there's obsession at the minute around learning and how we actually track and measure the outcome. And there's loads of great ways of doing that now, aren't there?
There is a lot of obsession around that, and it's kind of something I think there's an issue with in terms of security awareness in general. Like, how the fuck do you measure some of this stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, we're partnered with a company called, well, we're partnering, I think. I should know this, shouldn't I? Would it be my business? I think we're partnering with a company that have built a tool called Temperature that kind of measures your security culture based off assessments that they do for different with different employees.
Yeah.
And then they make recommendations off the back, obviously independent, not recommending escape rooms to everyone, very independent. Where they then make recommendations about different things you could do to improve your culture based off kind of what's wrong with it at the moment.
Okay, that's cool.
I think, because I mean, otherwise, what are the metrics for? What are the metrics for security awareness? It's fucking phishing click-through rates, and that's just
pointless. You're better off looking at the dynamic of a team, I think, just in terms of analysing it. Like we use for our product, we use a kind of behavioural analytic, and there's some numbers, but most of it's observational. And then that populates what we call a value quotient, like a kind of it's a performance metric.
Yeah, I mean, I measure stuff like, so what we want to do, rather than security culture, which or security awareness, we're focusing more on security engagement. So how engaged is business with the security team? So when we do stuff like voluntary escape room sessions with an organisation, well, we can see how engaged people are with that area of security by seeing how many people are signing up. And usually the sessions are oversubscribed and the customer has to come back and go, shit, we're oversubscribed. Can we have a couple more seconds? So I think if we can start looking at things like engagement metrics rather than awareness, then I think that's important. So I think a lot of times cyber's got a massive image problem.
Yeah. Have you put your garlic in yet? Sorry, I forgot to tell you.
I've been chucking all sorts in. I've not really followed the
we're freestyling it, which kind of brings me on to disruption. So I think there's a massive moment at the moment. The world is just becoming more and more chaotic, more and more risky. Frankly, if you're existing in a world where you're risk shaming people, you are off the mark. So I think we do need to rip the lid off security and risk culture. I've been working with an organisation recently who are really good at this, and they kind of, yes, they do kind of phishing tests and stuff, but there's no shame around getting it wrong. You know, it's just it's experimental actually, and there's a culture of looking out for each other. I think that's really valuable. It is a tech company. It's really valuable, but it's really rare to have that kind of maturity.
I actually wrote a LinkedIn post about this very thing this afternoon. I don't know if you saw it, but it was about Disney got hacked.
I did see it,
last year at some point. And the guy that kind of, I guess, whose fault it was, he downloaded some malware completely by accident. He was trying to download some kind of AI productivity tool to go in Slack. Downloaded that, but the malware in it. And then so it was something to do with, like, it had a keylogger in it, and then he got his password, manager password, and then they got into all the Disney systems through that, right?
Yeah.
What Disney did wrong, I think, is that they fired the guy because he did. As soon as he knew about it, he reported it and cooperated with the team. So what's the benefit of reporting something? So then I think, well, what does that do for your culture? That just says, don't fucking tell us anything, because you're going to get blamed either way.
I'm glad you mentioned culture, because who's to blame there? The system's to blame for that happening ultimately. And I was talking to someone today, and in the renewable sector, who's really, really impressive and I think a great example of a leader in this space. We need to be moving. She said we need to be moving towards a kind of pull, not push culture of kind of awareness, learning, and all of that. And I'm sad to hear that.
It's like that book I was reading the other week. What was it? Black Box Thinking. I don't know if you've started looking at it yet.
Yeah, it's great book, that.
But yeah, they're on about blame culture in terms of the healthcare industry. But people don't report issues because they're going to get told off for it.
Yeah. You've already lost if that's happening.
The issues. Whereas if you have a bit more of an open culture about reporting things, It's a lot better.
Yeah, big time. So do you engage a lot with CFOs? Because I think that's where the risk portfolio sits, really, isn't it, generally? And the role of CFOs is changing massively in organizations.
Yeah, so we don't. So we do work with some finance teams. So some of the companies that we work with bring us in to do specific training with the finance team, because obviously they're a high risk entity. And we are.
I put the noodles in. Sorry to interrupt. I've just put the noodles in. I keep forgetting to tell you.
It's fine. I'm just checking what I like. I'm just going with the flow.
Should we just let's just go. I'm literally closing the menu now. Let's
okay, I put some noodles in. We're good.
See, I was talking about CFOs and their role changing to take on, embrace a much broader set of portfolio, including, I think, often the risk profile. So I've seen some CFOs take on innovation and operational aspects of the role. They ultimately hold the keys to the risk culture for the organisation, don't they?
Well, I think if you don't have a top-down kind of culture in terms of is the senior leadership team engaging with this, you can't expect the rest of the people in their organisation to engage in it if they're doing nothing about it as well.
No.
So yeah, but we're working with an AI company at the moment, so we can build some vision training.
Okay.
We can ring the finance team and ask them to transfer today.
Okay.
And see if they fall for it, because that's exactly how these kind of hacks happen. It's just.
So I really like that, because that's it's a great AI application of quite an analog thing that could happen. I think you're really leading the way on bringing tech in. I'm with our products that they're inherently come from quite an analog background, but we're using digital to make them enhance them. But yes, I think it's an area of like some quite exciting development. But you've got to be brave, I think, in digitizing just digital by design, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, some stuff we do that's like that's a bit more techy. So obviously we like to talk about using AI and stuff, which is, I guess, is not necessarily forward thinking, but we're current with it. But then other stuff we do, like one of our escape rooms is totally analog. There's no tech in it at all because it's Sherlock Holmes themed. So
brilliant.
They didn't have fucking computers in 1800s or whatever it is. So we just made it completely analog. But we're still teaching about the concepts of cyber security. Well, I guess it's not cyber security, it's more information security.
Yeah.
The concepts of information security have been around since we've had fucking companies that are holding data about people, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think about, so I'm a big believer in working in consortium and working in teams, because frankly, it's boring working on your own. Like, do you think there's more in the cyberspace that companies can do to sort of operate together and bring the best of their products together?
Yeah, I think just in terms of like the work that we do, we always recommend, the training that we do, you do it in teams because you're stronger as a team. So whether that's whether you're about doing training or whether you're on about building a business that's kind of got, we work with other partners to bring their expertise in, because we can be really good at some stuff, but I'm not going to pretend to be fucking amazing at absolutely everything.
No, fair.
Well, I mean,
no one works in isolation.
because I obviously put forward the view that I am fucking brilliant. Right?
You are the best. Hang on, we've got a special guest. Like Phyllis has made an entrance into the. Can you see her?
Hi, we can see her. Yeah.
You, Phyllis? Yeah, I think she's after the prawns, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm interested in that. Like,
I've got a big tall man to feed, so I had to put extra stuff in that. So I've got salmon as well. You are freestyling it now. Totally.
So I think mine's done. So I'm just going to kind of focus on the conversation now. I'm quite proud of this. It looks a little bit overdone, actually. But I'll just let you do your thing. You do you.
I'm just throwing some bits in now. I don't really know what I'm doing.
Okay. So when I met you, Amy, I was like, wow, this girl does not give a fuck about, and that is a great angle to have, right? And it was really kind of cool, because for me, it's rare to see, I'm just going to call it, it's quite rare to see women be that ruthlessly like in your face. And I think that is awesome. And so, how'd you get to that,
So believe it or not, I got bullied for my entire time at school. Like dearly bullied for being a fucking nerd. Which now I'm like not well. I mean, I'm probably a nerd compared to a lot of people, but the industry that I work in, I've managed to be at like the cool end of it, not the super nerdy end of it. So I guess I picked my playing field and was like, I am a nerd in like, I don't know, if I was going to go work in retail, I would probably be a super nerd. But I've changed the playing field, so I work in tech, so I can be like the least nerdy of the tech people. But yeah, so getting bullied every day, I quickly learned to not give a fuck, because you have to just have a thick skin, don't you? Otherwise, you fucking go and cry every night. So
yeah.
I think I got a thick skin from that, and then just continued on from there, really.
And I was weird growing up as well. Like, I was different. There was stuff that was obviously different. Like, I cut my hair really short when I was like quite young, and I was always, I mean, in those days it was like, you're a tomboy. I was climbing trees all the time, and I was outdoors all the time.
I don't know why people in boxes like that though.
Yeah, but they did, didn't they? And I think they still do to a degree in their minds. But I was just different, but I was also super smart. So I was, I was bullied a little bit, but actually I was good at sport and I was smart. So I got away with it largely. And after uni, I was kind of drifting a bit, and I went to, I just walked past an army kind of recruitment place, and I joined the army, and I thought, just like most people, you just do it for a year or so and see how much, travel the world and stuff. And then 15 years later, I've acquired loads of skills that I've gone, actually I'm quite weird, quite creative, and I've got all this now experience of really dangerous high risk environments, and this is the first time in my life I've been able to bring all that together and make it a massive kind of success, I suppose.
And you've totally forged your own path with that. So you've obviously gone, what am I good at? What do I like doing?
And
what can bring value? So what is it called? That ikigai.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, look, I've done kind of looked at that and gone, right, well, I'm creative, I understand cyber, I can bring those things together to bring something that brings value. You've done exactly the same, but with like leadership.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's funny, isn't it, how in some ways our genesis and our business models are quite similar, and now we're kind of, I can see some options of, and I'm starting to collaborate more, it sounds like you are, with, partners of choice who've got the same values and are like want to pass that on. Like I'm a big driver around creating voice for people who are different in some way, and actually creating spaces. I think that's ultimately why, we've designed the products we have. Is, everyone I work with has got their own story, and actually maybe haven't had a voice in a traditional setting, but have got a lot to say. And so creating a space where people can come in and be like ruthlessly authentic, where maybe they've never been able to, is a massive driver for me. And I know it seems to be for you as well.
Yeah, I think it's important to be yourself. Like, you don't want to have two fucking personalities. I mean, I do, believe it or not, this is my work personality. My home personality is probably a little bit more extreme. My other half had to do marine training to actually go out with me, I think. He needed the military expertise.
Yeah, he was an auditor before he met you. Imagine.
No, that would not fly. No, I'm kidding, but obviously, I think you should be able to show up authentically as yourself. I don't see why we have these constraints around things. I mean, we work predominantly, you probably wouldn't believe it, given how much I F and Jeff, that we work predominantly with enterprise financial services organizations. When I talk to other people, they're like, but you go and meet them. I'm like, yep, I walk in, he's in a t-shirt, I used to have pink hair, nose ring. I walk in, I say fuck, I give them a hug, talk to them like actual humans, because I'm like, just because you work in this, again, like you said earlier, because you work in a serious industry, you have to be serious. You can be serious, but it's like, it's not that it's not a big deal, man.
No, it's not. And I think sometimes there's a firewall there. And I've worked with people who cannot release their real selves. But actually, when you talk to real professionals, and I found this with CFOs, finance companies, that actually, and government officials and stuff who like love the products. Ultimately, it's come down to you can look them in the eye. You're not giving a hard sell. You've just got a product that you believe in, and it makes difference. And your P&L, your numbers are right, your governance is right. You can actually show them the rigor. Doesn't mean you can't be fun, and I think that's what our products have got. Well, that's what our approach has got in common, and I think that's really cool. On the kind of voice thing though, like I'm starting to see as I get a bit older, I'm a bit older than you. I've got my 40 glass that my mum, hey mum, like she bought me this when I was 40. In fact, everything she bought me had 40 on it on my 40th birthday. So I'm 42 now. And I'm getting a bit older and I'm starting to think, well, how do you pass that knowledge on? And like, how do you make, like, because it was a tough pathway. I was different. I was weird. I was poor. I was gay. I was all the things. And how do you make that path easier for other people? And that seems to be something that drives you as well. Like that sort of that value to,
I've been and done like personal branding workshops with, at like women in tech events, and people have said to me, how do you stop giving a fuck? And I'm like, literally by not just stop caring. Like I can't explain it in any other way than just going, I don't care. The thing I say to people all the time, the people that mind don't matter, and the people that matter don't mind. So that is my ethos in life. Well, that and ask for forgiveness, not permission. But I think you've just got to have your circle of friends, and if they like you, that's cool. But if you're going to put yourself out there and be different, people are not going to like you. That's fine. But you've got to get on board with that concept. Because if you're liked by everyone, you're probably loved by no one.
That's a very good point. And do you think, like, sorry to be a bit playful with it, but do you think like having, like, because you've obviously got a daughter as well, do you think there's a side of you that's like there's a real responsibility to own who you are and kind of pass that on?
Maybe. I was like this before I had her, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think I've just doubled down on it in more recent years. But because I've seen the success that you can have by being yourself. So people that like me really like me. Yeah. And the people that don't like me really fucking don't like me.
And how do you deal with that? How do you deal with like those that struggle?
That don't like me? I just don't talk to them.
No.
I just move on. It's fine. There's like 6 billion people in the world. So cool, because there's like 6 billion other people that I can go talk to.
Yeah. And then there's people like me who are like happy to be the first follower and be like, that sounds cool. Like, and actually would I be on a cooking, podcast with a unicorn on it if it weren't for you? Probably not. But actually yeah.
It uncanny ability to get people to do weird shit.
Yeah, which is it's leadership is what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's not on purpose though. I don't think I've ever thought about honing those skills. It's just that's just natural.
You should ask Dane, because Dane, your partner, he's ex-military, isn't he? Like, leaders are not, I'm not a big believer in this like great person theory of like you're either a leader or not. However, there are certain attributes that just shine naturally. And I think particularly, I'd call that systems leadership. So what you're doing is actually leading in a system. Like the way you're disrupting is actually a form of leadership. And I think because I'm from, quite a different background, I really relate to that. And I think a lot of people relate to that. So I think it's a good thing. Yeah. But yeah, what about, so like, I often think sometimes, because being a small company, being a small business in this world can be quite tough. I think there's a massive status quo, and it feels like there's a bit of a return to status quo at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, how do you think, like, us as sort of SMEs or scale ups, how do we disrupt that? So I think at the moment we've got this kind of return to almost conservatism in business where, confidence is low in markets. It's easy to kind of spend on the big five consultancies because no one's going to get sacked for hiring a big five consultancy. How do you take that disruption into your sales and stuff and how you do your business?
I mean, I think it depends what it is that you're selling. So like what we sell is training is always pretty fucking low risk, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's low risk, but it's a risk to utilization. So you're always trying to sell something that you need to deliver like direct benefit, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, we never really have any problems with it because I mean, I don't do any outbound sales, do I? Everything's inbound because I do a lot of marketing. But I think that's key to how we disrupt by having a different brand voice and different brand color and how we talk about our products, and like the whole company's disruptive. It's not just me being disruptive, running like a regular business. Like everything we do kind of follows that pattern.
Yeah, I think that's quite important because like how you build a business and how you hire, particularly in like spaces like cyber, how you hire for disruptive thinking and divergence and stuff, I think is really important.
Yeah, it's easy in cyber because like 90% of the people are neurospicy, aren't they? So I find loads of
it's not just in cyber.
Disruptive thinkers. So yeah, I think that's quite. I'm lucky because in cyber, I think there is a higher percentage of people who are neurodivergent than in other industries.
Yeah,
so, like the talent pool for me is quite easy to find some people that want to do something a little bit fucking different.
But you're also a magnet for that. Like, I think being different, it helps.
That's what I mean. If you're yourself and you're authentically yourself, you naturally attract the people that you want to hang around with.
Yeah,
you naturally attract people that like you and that are and that like you and that are like you.
Yeah. So we've got some food that's going like.
Yeah, it's going to go cold. Yeah, I'm going to go eat it. Oh, well, quickly before you leave, what's your charity for the week?
Oh, it's Mind. So, really close to my heart. Really, for many reasons, like obviously being an ex-military person, I've had sadly lost some friends, like both in the military, for kind of, I guess, logical reasons in that way, in terms of they've something's happened, but actually I've lost a lot more beyond that. Who've struggled to sort of normalize in the real world. So that's really important. I also, one of the reasons that I, went to the military, my dad suffered really badly with mental health issues for quite a long time. And so I've always looked for opportunities to raise awareness of, frankly, we all struggle. It's a continuum. We all struggle at different points. And I think just normalizing that, I think Mind do a lot of great work in just kind of bringing that to people's attention. So yeah, thanks for the opportunity to raise that.
That's all right. Yep. So we'll share a link where people can go and learn a bit more about the charity and how to donate to them as well. So Shell, thank you so much for coming along.
Sure, it's been fun.
Actually really tell anyone the recipe of what we were doing, but anyway, chuck some shit in a pan and it's cool.
Chuck some prawns and stuff in a pan, and hopefully it'll still be nice cold. But next time we'll cook something like really complex that's got multi-stage. But I've really enjoyed it. It's been great.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Shell.
All right, take care.
See you next week, guys.
Bye. Bye.